This is Financially Fit Radio with Corey Sickles from Safe Harbor Retirement Group. When a part of your financial strategy is out of tune, your long-term goals, your retirement savings, and your legacy can all suffer. With many years of experience in the financial industry, Corey provides his clients and prospects with the information they need regarding Social Security, retirement income planning, wealth management, and much more. Listen in as we address your financial concerns and provide helpful solutions to put you on the path to achieving your retirement goals. And now, here is Financially Fit Radio with Corey Sickles.
Welcome to another episode of Financially Fit Radio. I'm Corey Sickles, representing the team here at Safe Harbor Retirement Group and Wealth Advisors. If you'd like more information about the insights on today's show, don't hesitate to reach out to us. You can give us a call at 614-760-0670 or visit us online at safeharboroh.com. And while you're exploring our website, be sure to navigate to that radio page. There you can catch up on previous shows and even subscribe to our program through popular podcast platforms like Amazon Music, Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, or Spotify. For engaging visual content on various financial subjects, feel free to drop by our YouTube page as well. Just search for Safe Harbor Retirement Group. You know, we're here to address any inquiries you might have or to arrange, an in-person or virtual meeting. And remember, all of our meetings are complimentary and carry no obligation. Your financial well-being is our priority, so let us know how we can assist you the best. Well, today we're going to talk about really a fixed indexed annuity or annuities in general. And really the goal of the show today is an annuity right for you? Is it right for your retirement plan? But before we kind of dive into that topic, let me introduce to you my co-host this week and every week, and that's Tony Shore. Tony, how are you today?
I'm doing great, Corey. Thanks for having me on the show once again. And wow, you picked quite a topic, annuities. I think there are a lot of misunderstandings out there about annuities, and they do provide a lot of advantages. They keep changing and improving annuities, and Social Security is a type of annuity, and pensions. So sometimes you don't have enough Social Security, or you don't have a pension nowadays. Very few people do. So annuities can be a great solution, a good retirement solution, but you have to know what you're doing, and you have to look at your own personal situation. And I know we're going to talk about some of those things today on the show. But I've had a great week, Corey. I saw my mom and dad again this past weekend. That's 2 weeks in a row. Went down there and got my daughter into a vehicle. That just means more added back onto insurance. That means I'll need to be I'll need to be hitting you up for more money, Corey. You're the money guy. Yeah. Cover that insurance cost. Our youngest daughter, who turns 19 next week, she's in college, so that was an adventure, and she's excited about that. How about you? What did you do this past weekend? Now, you didn't golf, did you? It was too cold for that, right?
Yeah, I did not golf. Cold and rainy. Yeah. It's hard to believe it's November.
Yeah.
I mean, it is hard to believe that, 2023 is going to be coming to an end pretty quick here.
This year flew by for me. How about you?
It seems, it seems like sometimes the days go slow, but the months go fast.
Yes, exactly. This year went really fast, but man, sometimes we had some long days in there. You're right. It does feel that way. That is weird. How like this weekend seemed to look like it was long, but next thing you know, I'm back here starting on a Monday morning. So, yep.
But for our listeners out there, it's hard to believe this, but we're going to be, all of a sudden starting to send out emails and promoting our toy drive. We're going to be giving those away, the first week of December. So, one of the things that I love about it is we have clients and prospects drop by our office and drop off toys. This actually is, it's the Big Ten TV toy drive. So that's coming up here very quickly. It's going to be here before I know it. Before we all know it, it's hard to believe, we're going to be here at Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year. It's all going to be happening pretty fast. This actually is kind of a busy time for us. There's going to be a lot of people out there that wanting to retire, come January. Yeah. And, we're going to just be meeting, fine-tuning things. And there's going to be probably some prospects that come in that also want to retire in the next 3 or 4 months. Because if it's not January, another popular date's April 1st. for whatever reason.
Really?
Maybe, yeah.
Huh.
I think a lot of people get bonuses and things like
sure.
that from the end of the year. So they want to kind of hang on to make sure they get that.
Sometimes the business year ends in April, kind of goes along with the tax year. So for some companies, some of your things you want to stay through April to the end of their business year to get all of make sure you've got your tenure and your bonuses and everything else, right?
That's exactly right. Yep, that's exactly right. So really, for us, the next 5-6 months, it's actually probably our busiest time of the year, which is a good thing. It's nice and cold out. There's no reason to be outside doing things, right? So for us, that's a good time of the year to be able to do that. Yep. And one of the topics that are always going to come up when we start talking about retirement and investments, and that is basically, should I get into an annuity? Is an annuity right for me? And of course, everyone's situation's obviously different. But one of the things that we do like, first of all, I kind of want to explain the 3 types of annuities that are primarily out there, Tony. So we have a variable annuity, and a lot of broker dealers will sell those type of annuities, which means at the end of the day, your balance can go up or down. You might have some guarantees on your income account rider, but from a principal protection standpoint, that balance is going to go up or down. So at Safe Harbor Wealth Advisors and Safe Harbor Retirement Group here, we don't sell variable annuities to our clients. Usually the fees are a little bit higher, and then I don't like to be able to have your balance go up or down. I mean, at the end of the day, that's what investing in the market is, and you can do that usually a lot cheaper with a managed portfolio that we offer and things like that. Yeah, and then you have a fixed annuity, and a fixed annuity is you keep it in there for a specific amount of time. It could be 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, but now you're guaranteed an expected amount of return, right? And most like 2 and 3 year fixed annuities right now are paying somewhere between 5 to 5.5%. You get out to that 3 to 5 year rate, you're probably around 5.75.
Nice.
But you put money in there, you know what it's going to make when the day comes when you want to be able to cash it out. Interest rates are pretty good right now, for those type of products. And then our last one we have is a fixed indexed annuity. And, this is a very useful financial product because it does a couple things. You definitely get a guaranteed minimum rate of return, but you also have the potential to earn interest based upon the performance of an underlying market or an index, kind of like the S&P 500. So you can make money when the market goes up, but the unique part about it also, Tony, is when the market's negative, the worst you'll ever do is actually lose zero, right? Now, you might have a fee associated, so of course you might lose something off of the fee, but from an actual principal balance based upon market going down, you're not going to lose any money.
Your principal is protected, unlike riskier aspects or asset management. Unlike in the stock market or bonds or a variable annuity, in a fixed annuity, you can have principal protection, is what you're saying.
Yes, you can definitely get principal protection,
and you can get fixed or fixed index annuities with little to no fees, right?
You can. And normally what we do here, I mean, we'll kind of talk about this, but if you just wanted to do what we call an accumulation annuity, Tony, there could be zero fee associated with that. You just don't have the possibility. You don't have what we call an income rider. An income rider means I want to use it for a pension later on at some point in time.
And there is a small fee for that, right?
There is a small fee for that. But for most of the annuities that we actually have right now, we'll just talk about accumulation for a second. You get principal protection. There's also one of the things that I do like about annuities right now is the products have gotten better as interest rates in the U.S. Treasury have gone up. So the amount of money that you can make on caps and things like that today are a lot higher than they were, a year ago or even 3, 5, 6 years ago. And let me give you an example of a couple. I mean, there's some out there right now that'll give you anywhere from like an 8% to a 16% bonus on the amount of money that you put in. So if you have $100,000 and you get an 8% bonus, it's worth $108,000 tomorrow. And the caps are a lot higher. And that cap is how much money can I make, for a period of time. And most of them are like for 1 year. It's what we call a point-to-point cap. You look at today, 1 year later, if the market's gone up, you make money. If the market's gone down, you don't lose anything. However, when I start talking about caps, there's caps out there right now that might be 8.5%, 9%. We'll just say anywhere from 7 to 9%, which means if the market goes up 10%, you make 8.5%. If that's what your cap is, or if it goes up 15%, you only make 8.5%. But the reason why I like those type of things, Tony, is you really can't compare a fixed indexed annuity to the stocks.
Right.
Your stocks, if it goes up 20, you might make 20%. You have limits off of this. So a lot of times what we'll end up doing is taking what you would actually put into your safe money, your bond portfolio, and put it into maybe like a fixed indexed annuity as accumulation. Now what we're trying to do is have you potentially make more money than what you could actually make in bonds.
Wow.
If that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's interesting. And I know that the bond market has been not great over the last couple of years, last few years. So this is something that really is good. With bonds, your principal isn't protected. I know it was the old 60-40, 60% stocks, 40% bonds. And then you had, that was conservative, and a lot of people would say, hey, a lot of investment firms say, hey, you're protected because you've got these bonds, but that doesn't always work out. If you want true principal protection, you've got to do something else.
That's correct. And I think everyone realized that in 2022 when bonds were down double digits.
Yeah, along with the stock market, which is rare. Yeah,
exactly right. I mean, that was a unique experience. Everyone always thought, well, I've put money into bonds and I'm not going to be able to lose anything. And I think reality kind of set in there a little bit last year. And that's why it's so important to know what your risk score is. And you don't just like anything, you don't put all your eggs in one basket. But say you go back to that 60-40 portfolio type, you still might be 60% stocks, maybe 30% annuity, fixed indexed annuity, and 10% bonds or stable value or something to that effect, because you do want liquidity and things like that. But it's a great way to basically make money when the market's up. You don't lose money when the market, of course, is negative. And, it's really, it's a low risk option when we started, when we start talking about investing, because the nice part is, Tony, you're still invested in the market. You just don't have 100% upside. And of course you have 0% of the downside.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's good. And, people need to look at all the different options out there. Bonds haven't been great. I mean, they were terrible, like you said, last year in 2022, but they weren't that great even leading up to that. And bonds have the impact and effectiveness of bonds as a safe investment has gone down over the last few years quite a bit in general. So it is good to have different options, and you don't want all your eggs in one basket. In other words, you don't want all your assets at risk, right?
That's exactly right. I mean, that's really what we're talking about. This is a good way. We call this what we call green money. I mean, what it's going to be worth at minimum tomorrow, right? No matter whether the market goes up or down today.
Like when all this was going on, my dad happened to inherit some money from his father, my grandfather, when he passed away about a year ago. And so this has been a little over a year ago. And so he took some of that money my grandfather had in a CD. So my dad took it and was going to put it in a CD, the portion he got inherited. And I said, no, let's look at the rates. And the rates for CDs, of course, at that time were pretty good because interest rates had already gone up. But, I mean, they were like 3.5%, 4%. And at the time, that was great. But I said, let's look at MIGAs, which is a multi-year guaranteed annuity, which is an annuity. And they had better rates, and the terms were better, actually. So he went with the MIGA. And the great thing is about that MIGA, he knows his principal is protected, and he knows exactly what it's going to be worth when it comes due.
Yeah, and the other benefit about that, Tony, too, is I'm going to go back and use your example of a CD versus putting it into a MIGA or into a fixed annuity, right? So the other part is your interest is tax deferred too. So with a CD, you're going to get a 1099 every year for that money that you actually made off of the interest. with a fixed annuity or a MIGA or even a fixed indexed annuity, all that growth is actually is tax deferred until you actually make a withdrawal, which means you can delay your taxes, for something for future down the line as well. So it's also a great way to be able to get some growth and then kind of manage your tax liability, off of that growth on an annual basis as well.
Yeah. Yeah, there you go. And there are a lot of misconceptions. People are going, well, I've heard other financial talking heads say that annuities are bad, or you hear an ad where, I would burn in hell before I'd buy an annuity, or I wouldn't sell an annuity to my own mother. These types of sensationalistic claims, and I think they're just using scare tactics, and those are investment firms. They're not firms that look at the big picture. And I don't think that they're being good fiduciaries, because you want what's in your client's best interest, and that's what you do. You're a fiduciary. And maybe a fixed index annuity is in their best interest versus the 60-40 bond split, right?
That's exactly right. And that's why it's so important to, I think, meet with an advisor or come in and meet with us, is because we're going to sit down, analyze your risk score, but more importantly, find out what your true financial goals are. Then based upon that, we come up with recommendations. Everybody's different. Everyone's situation's different. Everyone's solution's different. But we're going to be able to customize something for you, and to see if it, and part of that might be to see if an annuity does fit within your portfolio.
Yeah, there you go. And I think that's really important. And I know that when you look at, Corey, people's overall big picture, you've got to find the best tools to meet their retirement goals and make sure their money lasts as long as they do, right?
That's exactly right. So, leading up to that, Tony, so we just kind of talked about, an accumulation type of annuities, right? So obviously, one of the big reasons that people put money into an annuity is for some type of guaranteed income, right? And so you can actually add what we call an income rider to this fixed indexed annuity. And that income rider, then at some point in time, you're going to be able to create your own pension. And which means you're going to get a certain amount of guaranteed income for as long as you live. And here's the nice part about it is if you do have a spouse, then now it could be guaranteed for both of your lives for as long as you live, which is a very nice feature. Let's face it, pensions are no longer around like they used to be. So really the only pension that anyone has, or an annuity that anyone has, is Social Security. Social Security kind of works the same way. You're guaranteed a payment for as long as you live, and an annuity can work the same way. Now, let me give you an example of an income. We have an income rider. We have a company out there right now that actually gives you a 30% bonus off of whatever money you put into it. We'll use that $100,000 example. So your principal is worth $100,000 tomorrow. Yeah. However, they have what they call an income account. That income account is what determines on what you're going to get paid for as long as you live. And right now they're giving a 30% bonus. So it's worth $130,000 tomorrow. Mm-hmm. And then it's guaranteed, that income account's guaranteed to grow at 8% per year until you trigger lifetime income. So the nice part about that is now you got guaranteed growth. Maybe you want to place money into this. Maybe you're 60, put money into that now. Maybe you want to retire around 65 or 67. Now it makes it a lot easier for us to be able to start building income plans, because now we know exactly what this is going to pay out the year we want to trigger it. Maybe you're triggering Social Security at that time, or maybe you're delaying it, whatever that situation is. But there's a comfort of knowing that what you're going to be able to get at a certain amount of, at a certain point in time as well. And that's where that guaranteed comes in. And that's how it can actually benefit you and your spouse for as long as both of you live.
Well, and that reminds me of something you've told me, Corey, and you've told our listeners in the past, on past shows, is that it's not always about how much you have, but when you have it. When exactly you access it, where it's at, how it's working for you, and when you're going to need to access that money. So timing is everything, and your time horizon. And that is a great thing about certain annuities, is that it really helps you know exactly what you're going to have and when you can access it and how that can be accessed. So that's, kind of like Social Security. It's a known factor. That's why that's where you start, is what's your Social Security going to be? And that's the foundation. And then you build from there with other things, right?
That's exactly right. That's exactly right, Tony. I mean, when you start looking at it, the nice part about having an annuity and Social Security with part of your portfolio is you know what to expect next month if you trigger income, no matter what happens in the market, right?
Right.
I mean, if your balances, if your portfolio is going up or down and you still keep taking the same amount of money or more money than you should, then you could actually be in a situation later on in life where maybe that money's not going to be there. The nice part about when you trigger lifetime income on an annuity, you're guaranteed that payment as long as that company stays in business, of course, but you're guaranteed that payment for as long as you and your spouse live.
Wow. And that's really good to have that known factor, that known income coming in. Yep.
And, so really, really quick, the one thing I thought we'd just spend a couple minutes to make sure everyone understands, some of the cons or the negatives of a fixed index annuity. And obviously the biggest one are the caps, right? If you have an 8.5% cap and the market goes up 20, you're only going to make 8.5%. So you need to make sure that you understand what type of product you're going into and make sure you understand the cap. The nice part is when the market drops 20%, like in 2022, you just made zero. That's a huge benefit.
You didn't lose 20%.
That's exactly right. You lost zero. So the years when the market's negative, you can always say zero's my hero, right? The other part that I think everyone needs to be familiar with is most of these have either like 5, 7, or 10 year agreements that you're going to keep money in these type of products. And if you take more than, most of them have a 10% penalty free withdrawal, right? So which all that means, if you have $100,000 in there, then you can pull out $10,000, the first year, and 10% the year after that.
Right. And even in not regarding annuity, just where your money is allocated. That's why people need to come in and talk to you, because are my funds properly allocated to meet my retirement goals and needs, and so it'll last as long as I do? If I want to set aside, make sure my kids receive X amount, how can I ensure that will happen and it won't get eaten up by myself or by market downturns or by long-term care? You need a plan in place, and there are a lot of moving parts, a lot of pieces to this puzzle, and you need a big picture guy who knows what that box lid, that picture, it needs to look like when all the puzzle pieces are together. And that's why our listeners need to pick up the phone and give you a call, correct?
That's exactly right. For our listeners out there, just feel free to give us a call at 614-760-0670, or you can always visit us online at safeharboroh.com. Again, we're here to help you. If you have a financial plan, we can put it, if you don't have a financial plan, we can put one in place for you. If you do have one, we can provide a second opinion. And, the nice part is all of our meetings are complimentary, no obligation. So I think it'll be very wise for you to become familiar with an annuity, the benefits of it. There's a lot of, depending on where you're reading things on the internet, they're always going to tell you about the negative the negative aspects of it. But I think everyone would be very surprised on how an annuity does work and the very good benefits it could actually provide to you and your family as you kind of go through retirement.
Right. I think that's important to note. Well, Corey, great show today. We're out of time. Give that phone number one more time.
Yeah, our phone number here is 614-760-0670, or you can always visit us online at safeharboroh.com.
All right, that does it for today's episode of Financially Fit Radio.
Join us next week for another episode of Financially Fit Radio.
Thank you for listening to Financially Fit Radio. Don't pay too much for taxes or retire without a sound income plan. For more information, contact Corey Sickles at Safe Harbor Retirement Group. Call 614-760-0670 or visit their website at financiallyfitoh.com.
All matters discussed during the show are for informational purposes only. Each individual situation may vary, and the opinions expressed here may not apply to everyone. Materials presented are believed to be from reliable sources, and no representations can be made as to its accuracy. All ideas and information should be discussed in detail with one of our qualified representatives prior to implementation. We are not affiliated with or endorsed by the Social Security Administration, the Federal Medicare Program, or any other government agency. Calling this number will direct you to a licensed sales agent.